Hello, 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 and welcome to Worthy Wednesday. Okay, y'all, I was ready today, and then I hit the live button at 6 o'clock on the dot, and then it turned to 6:01. Seriously, I have got to get my life when it comes to making sure I'm getting there on time. But welcome to Worthy Wednesday. I'm happy to see y'all. Well, you know what I'm saying. I always say that because I'm like, well, I feel like I see y'all. I be looking at myself, but I feel like I see y'all. So I am happy to see you guys today. Today is Wednesday, but we know it as Worthy Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. And I cannot believe that we are almost to the end of another month in 2021. It seems crazy, y'all. Okay, so let me tell you this. There are so many things that are happening, and I want to jump right into what I want to talk about in just a minute. But the main thing is my Facebook memories, my Instagram memories, my Google Photos memories have all been of this time last year with all of the festivities for Gianna because she was graduating. And it's so interesting because everything was so different last year. There were so many changes and adaptations we had to have because of everything that was going on with the pandemic. And then, people not really knowing what we should do or what we should not do, how we should gather, if we should not gather. And so it's been well, I would say it's been really fun to look back at that time, but honestly, I've been a little sad, if I'm telling the truth. And honestly, I've also been incredibly floored that I've already lived another year since that time. Like, I can't even believe I have now come full circle, almost to the date she graduated last year, May 20th, and today's the 19th. So 1 year. Tomorrow will be her 1 year anniversary from high school, and it seems absolutely insane. I can't even believe it. But anyway, I digress. So I am happy to see you guys today on this Worthy Wednesday. Also, here are a few announcements. So I remember last week we talked a little bit about time, and so I'm really thinking that I'm going to launch that in June. The month of June, we're going to be talking about time, what it is, how we use it, how we misuse it, how we abuse it, and then how we think we're always going to get more of it if something doesn't go our way. So I'm looking forward to kind of studying that a lot more, not a little bit, a lot more, and really learning about time, because sometimes, I can be a procrastinator. I don't know if anybody else can, but I totally can be a procrastinator. And it is definitely a habit I have to break. Like, I haven't done it yet, but I really have to break being a procrastinator. So anyway, oh my God. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so let's just get right to it. Today, Worthy Women for Worthy Wednesday. So many things in the year of 2021 when we've been talking about me. It's great because every time I say that, I think, oh my gosh, the women in the group should be so happy I never talk about them. I always talk about me, and I always tell them things I do, and I always give them real life examples from my life and the stuff that I do, and I probably need to make better choices as I'm growing up. And I really felt like, after last week when we talked about being refocused and refocusing ourselves, I really felt like I could talk about that for the rest of the year, because I don't think you can ever be focused enough. And I don't mean to the place where you're driven and you're just like really acting crazy, but I mean in a lane of discipline in your life where you actually learn how to remain focused when you have a task at hand and you have to take care of it. So tonight I thought, well, should I talk about that a little bit more or something else? So we're going to talk about something else. So I entitled tonight's little life lesson, Celebrate Me. So let's just get right to it. Let me scoot my notebook over so I don't have to look over here. And y'all be like, what is she looking at down there? But y'all, whenever you see me look down, it's because I'm looking at my notes, for real. All right, so there have been, over the last month, May is a huge month for celebration. It is a huge month for changes in the seasons and the weather. And it is a huge month for things that are on the horizon that are about to come. So there have been so many celebrations that I have seen over the last month come across my timeline, whether that's people are having a new baby. People are celebrating a brand new marriage. People are buying a brand new home together. They are getting a new car. Maybe they got a new job. There have been so many promotions. There's promotions at work. There's promotions at school. There's graduations. There's kindergarten graduation. I remember Gianna's kindergarten graduation. There's graduation from elementary school, and then promotion from middle school, and then finally high school graduation, which is like the culmination of all of your schooling, and not like it is the culmination of all of your schooling. And I've seen so many parents share their child's high school graduation, and I've also seen some people share their college graduation of their children, which, number one, is such a blessing. Number two, even if your son or daughter doesn't go to traditional college, but they go to a community college where they become respiratory therapists, dental hygienists, massage, that is still a college. It is a level of education beyond high school. It is a college education that prepares them to do something in the world that they are interested in. That too is a celebration. But one thing I was thinking is that during this month, there are so many reasons to celebrate. There are so many reasons to gather. There are so many reasons that we have in our life to be present. And as I was, really reflecting on how May, it's such a jam-packed month, the final honor roll assembly, the final report card, the final celebration, the results of all the testing, anything that you need to do to get everything made up. It is the beginning of an end, but it's the beginning of something new. I thought to myself, especially in this time of the world being, I won't say we're post the pandemic, but I will say we're a little bit closer to post the pandemic. But the question I asked myself is, why do we want to celebrate and only gather when it is a reflection of something that is big, or it is a life change, or it is something that we all need to be in attendance to? Why is it that we only want to have a celebration? We only want to be celebrated if others can be present with us. And then I said, why is it that the celebration becomes more about the event, graduation, new car, new baby, new home, new job, new promotion, and it becomes less and less and less about the individual that we are to be celebrating? So as I was reflecting upon that, sorry, I gotta turn the page, but as I was reflecting upon that, I thought about how easy it is and how guilty I am of creating and wanting to create events that are so memorable that people talk about the event for months, for years, that the celebration is so grandiose, or that it's so remarkable, so unforgettable, that people don't even remember why I asked them to gather or why I asked them to celebrate. They just say, oh my God, Cree threw this party and it was epic. Like, I totally want to go every time she has some type of function. I want to be there. Excuse me. But I thought to myself, what does gathering really teach me about my life, about my priorities, and about my purpose? Because I've learned that when I am in the midst of having a gathering or a celebration, the event becomes more important than the life that I'm celebrating because of that event. The reason why I had a reason to gather last year for graduation, or for signing day, or for honors assembly, was because my daughter was the main event. But in my head, I'm not sure, if I'm being honest, which I am, I'm not sure if I ever thought about this stuff was for her. I mean, let me just tell you the truth, okay? Like, I I like to throw big parties. I like them to be real fun. I like them to be real successful. And I love for there to be phenomenal food. So in my head, Worthy Women, I'm telling you that my objective is to have things laid out in such a way that people are like, what a great time this was. And if you remember to celebrate the individual, that's great. But if you don't, I feel more content that you were excited to be at my gathering. Now, y'all, we know that that is not the purpose of gatherings. I mean, let me not talk about you. Let me talk about me. I know that the purpose of the gathering is not for me to be remembered or for me to be celebrated. It's for that person to be remembered and for that person to be celebrated. But Carrie, sometimes have a problem being the center of attention or being the center of the universe or just my universe, and then inviting people to come in and celebrate me as the center of my universe, even though this gathering is not about me. So I thought about, how do I convey to you, worthy women, that when I say we need to celebrate me, we don't get caught up in the event. We don't get caught up in the people there. We don't get caught up in the planning and the pursuit of something and fail to remember the reason why we've gathered. So I said, what does celebration teach me about me? When I am in charge of creating a celebration for someone, something, some event, whatever, what am I really learning about myself in the process of preparing for that celebration? Now, I can speak to you from personal experience, obviously. I love to ensure that the celebration is big, that it's grandiose, that it is intimate, though, because there are touches that I will put inside of the celebration that helps the people that are there, the people that will be there, to know that I've thought about details far out. I've thought about the things that everybody thinks about and also about the things people just wish you would think about when you host a celebration. But the other thing that I actually came to realize, which is exactly why this is about me and not about you, that a celebration really teaches me that I actually might have a hard time letting go. See, what happens is when we have a celebration, we celebrate that particular event. And no doubt it's about a person. And it's also about creating those memories and creating, excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's also about creating those memories and creating a time stamp almost of a moment in our lives that we believe that we'll never get back again. Now, obviously, you're going to have your birthday next year, just like you're going to have it this year. You might not have the same birthday party that you had last year, but you still have a party nonetheless. You know, this is what I find resilient about children. They don't really care what the theme is from year to year. They're just excited that they're having a party every year. Now, I can speak to you from personal experience that I threw Gianna a birthday party for 13 years. And her 13th birthday, I went all out. We stayed at a hotel. We rented the suite. They could swim. They could eat. I went to the tilt on the 13th birthday. But honestly, I was really tired. After it was all over, I didn't really sleep that whole night. Had to make sure the girls weren't running up and down the hallway. Because it was in a hotel. Had to make sure they had all their snacks in the room in the big old suite, and they had the air on like 26. It was freezing in there, and I really don't remember sleeping that night. And I had been up 2 days prior to that getting everything ready. But what I learned is that I wanted people to recognize what a great job I did for my baby's birthday party. And I wanted people to talk about how epic it was and how their daughters came home and said, oh my gosh, and Gianna's mom did this and this and this and this and this. And as I was reflecting upon the reason why, what does celebration teach me about me, or why does celebration even teach me something about me, it's because I learned that I was putting all of the attention on myself and not on the reason why I was actually having the celebration. Now, you understand that a celebration, number one, it is a ceremonial type of event that when we have a communion service, or for example, if the Catholics have mass, there are certain prayers that they pray, certain songs that they sing. We honor the sacrament of that particular event. But celebration also means that we identify the cause and the reasons that we want to make known this particular thing or individual. So that makes sense in my head. But I said, I didn't learn anything when it comes to that. I learned that I need to work on celebrating me. So that's what I really want to talk to us about, is celebrating me. So let's take a time out right here. Let's take a time out, have a sidebar. I want to tell you, worthy women, that celebrations are absolutely 1 billion trillion gazillion % absolutely necessary. Celebration is a reminder of where you've come from. It is a reminder of the faithfulness of God. It is a reminder of why sometimes the best way in order to appreciate the ending of a thing is to actually walk through the process of that thing. So I am telling you right now that celebrations are required. They are necessary, and you should have them. Celebrations are wonderful. They are lovely. They are exceptional. Celebrating creates joy. It creates happiness. It creates expectation. So I want you to understand that we need to celebrate. It is a requirement while you are on the earth, while I am on the earth, to celebrate. But the thing that I realized in listening and thinking and studying is that I don't know how to actually celebrate me. Now, as I continue in this sidebar, I'm not talking about self-care, because we understand that. We understand taking time for ourselves, treating ourselves, taking care of our health, taking care of our hair, taking care of our nails, all of those things. I'm not talking about those, because those should not be celebrations. Those should be requirements that we require of ourselves, to take the time to take care of ourselves as individuals. That's a requirement, worthy women. And if you're not practicing self-care, I don't even care how you want to do it. If that's going to get a manicure, if that's going to get a facial, if that's getting your hair done, if that's walking around the block every night, your self-care is so important, because that takes care of you. But the problem I had in recognizing, well, what does it mean? Do I even know how to celebrate me? And even before I get into that, I also heard the cynical part of my brain say, Carrie, let's just be honest. If no one celebrates me, girl, I don't care. I will celebrate myself. I don't need them. I don't need them to toot my horn. Toot toot. I can toot my own horn. I don't need someone to have a reason to celebrate me. I will celebrate myself. Now, this is the cynical part of my brain talking. And I said, Carrie, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being haughty or prideful and having a celebration for yourself. I'm talking about recognizing why I don't ever celebrate myself unless it is tied to some accomplishment. Now, of course, I know that we're not going to walk around celebrating that we can tie our shoes, or that we go to work, or that we pay our bills, or that we are responsible. Although there was a time in our life that we should have celebrated that we were walking in that level of responsibility, that level of adulthood. But what I'm really talking about is recognizing why the celebration of me is critical. So tonight, this life lesson is not about value. It's not about your worth. It's not about your worthiness. These things have already been established. See, we look at, not we, but me. I look at the word celebrate and say, well, the only reason why I would apply that to my life is if I am doing something, or if I have accomplished something. But see, that's the problem with me. I mean, it might not be the problem with you, but the problem with me is that I limit the reasons why I want to believe in myself, or the reasons why I want to celebrate myself, unless I'm doing something that other people can recognize and they chime in the celebration too. But it's funny, because most of the things I want to be celebrated for, nobody sees them. Nobody knows about them. Nobody would even believe that I've done certain things because I don't make that a priority. And it's funny that I'm saying that because really what I'm talking about is me. If it's a graduation, if it's a promotion, if it's a new house, a car, a job, a marriage, a relationship, I'm all over that. But if it's about me learning to be more disciplined, if it's about me not gossiping, if it's about me making a decision to take care of my health, if it's about me making a decision to be a better mom, to be a better career, to be a better daughter, why is it that I don't want to invite others to celebrate that me? Because honestly, worthy women, that's the me that needs to be celebrated, not the me that you see outside or the me that you see in some event or location. The me that needs to be celebrated is the me that is making life decisions every day to become the best me possible. So as I was thinking about it, I said these things, my value, my worth, all of those things are already known and understood and lived every day because by the grace of God, understanding that you have been created for a purpose, for a destiny, you are already worthy. You are already valuable. You are already loved. Those things are established. You don't even need to have a debate about those things in your mind. But this life lesson tonight about celebrate me is really about me refusing to acknowledge me and then celebrate it. And I really recognize, worthy women, that that's exactly what's happening. That I have made decisions in my life, and because I believe that those decisions weren't noteworthy, or they weren't important, or they didn't fall into a category that anybody would be interested in hearing about, I decided that I would refuse to celebrate me. And I wondered if I'm the only me in our group that refuses to celebrate me. I wonder if I'm the only me in the group that has a hard time acknowledging that I am worthy of celebration, that I am worthy of others recognizing just me, not my accomplishments, not my goals, not my dreams, not my visions, but just me. So I want to give you an example because at times I feel like, and this is certainly the teacher in me, you have to be able to bring something home to where people live because that really helps them. So I'm going to give you a story of two things. They're the exact same thing, but different times in my life. For example, number one, when I learned to tie my shoe, oh my gosh, I was probably 3, 4, little. Okay, I was very young. And I remember when I first learned to tie my shoe, my mom and dad brought us tennis shoes that we had to learn to tie. Before that, we had Velcro, so we could just slide our foot in and slide our foot out. But when they started teaching us how to tie, the shoe that we wore changed. Put a pause right there. When you start something new, when you change, when you practice, when you level up, you will learn something new. And in order for that to occur, you have to change where you are to where you need to be. And I'm back. So I remember sitting on the floor trying to learn how to tie my shoe. First, you pull your shoelaces up. Then you want to cross them in the air and put them down. You want to lift up one side, stick it through, use your finger and pull it through, and ooh, you pull it down and it's tight. Make a loop. Tie it, pull the loop. Now, y'all, I can't tell you, I probably said that a million times. I'd probably still say it now, subconsciously in my brain when I'm tying my shoe. But I'm telling you, at that time in my life, when I was small, learning how to tie my shoe was a celebration. It was a reason for our family to gather, for us to be present, for us to celebrate me. But see, I didn't know then that what they were really celebrating was not me tying my shoe. They were really celebrating me learning and remembering and then practicing how to tie my shoe. Think about how you do this for people that you know, whether you have children or not, but people that have been in your life, that you have an influence on and around and amongst those people. When they finally begin to practice something that you've shown them, there is a celebration. But see, because of the way that we view celebration, and maybe not you, just me, the way that I viewed celebration, I thought I was being celebrated. I thought that I was experiencing the joy and the satisfaction of knowing how to tie my shoe. And that was exactly right. But what happens is that we begin to celebrate the event. So the event was tying my shoe, but I was the one tying my shoe. Like, don't I deserve the excitement? Don't I deserve the praise? Yes. And that's exactly what I received from my family. Well, fast forward a couple of years, I'm pretty sure my parents still weren't throwing a high five party every time I did what I knew to do. Now, did I get upset? No. Did I think that my parents were terrible parents? No. I just moved on, because once something becomes a part of you, you begin to master that thing. You grow in it and you mature, kind of like your life. There are certain things in your life that you did when you were 16 that you're not going to do when you were 20. Certainly not going to do it when you're 25. And prayerfully, you certainly don't do it when you hit 30 and beyond. And see, the celebration then, worthy women, is not about the event. The celebration is about you practicing something, and it actually becomes a part of you. It becomes who you are. See, tying my shoe now is a part of me. I don't need any recognition. I don't need to be gathered around. I don't need to have an event to celebrate something that is a part of me. Now, that example holds true whether you're 3 or you're 33. There are things in our life that we have practiced. We've practiced kindness, we've practiced joy, we've practiced peace. And then there are things that we've practiced that we don't really want to admit. I mean, not you, but me. I've practiced unforgiveness. I've practiced hatred at times. I've practiced bitterness at times. I've practiced yelling. I've practiced anger. I've practiced resistance. See, the thing is that whatever that event is, whether it's happy or sad, whether it's positive or negative, the longer you rehearse that event, it then becomes a part of you. And once something becomes a part of you, you don't look for celebration in that area anymore for yourself, because now that's who you are, because you practice it. And so I thought to myself, are we practicing celebration for me? Like, I should practice that, right? I should totally want to celebrate myself. But then I thought about, as I got older and I now tie my shoe without thinking, I said, is the reason why I don't celebrate myself because I have some things in me that I don't want people to gather around and find out? Is it because I don't want to put on display the things that aren't the best part of me, so people can look and be like, Karee, you need to get your life together with that. Like, you are angry and that is boo. Karee, you should not be gossiping. That is not appropriate. That is not what Jesus did. Karee, why are you so short-tempered? I thought to myself, how many things have I practiced and become, but I still want people to celebrate things that aren't worth the celebration? So, worthy women, this is what I had to decide tonight about myself. I had to say, Karee, you just don't get to pick and choose what part of me you celebrate, because I'm all of the things that I practice. See, our children are all of the things that we've taught them that have now become a part of them. And those are all the things that they do. And some of the influence comes from other places. We are a product of all of the things that we have practiced and been taught for years. If you were taught and you practiced things that were not kind, things that were not lovely, you are those things. But if you were also taught things that were kind and things that were loved, you're also all those things. But the reason why we can't celebrate is because we're not sure which me is going to show up to the event. So, worthy women, I'm wondering tonight, and making a choice about celebration and celebrating me. I'm not talking about superficial things that don't matter. I'm talking about recognizing the things that have become exactly who I am. And things that have actually caused me some reservation and why I don't want to celebrate me. There was a time in my life that I would never celebrate or even announce that I was doing something because of fear. I was so afraid. I don't even know why. I can't tell you to this day why I was afraid or where fear entered. I'm sure it was just an attack of the enemy, but there was a part of my life that I was afraid to do anything. I didn't want to do things. I didn't want people to not like me. I did not want to not be accepted. I was afraid of rejection. So I didn't look for reasons to celebrate. I didn't even look for reasons to be celebrated. But worthy women, I wonder if tonight the challenge for you and the challenge for me is to figure out, why is there a reason to celebrate? Why is there a reason to gather? Why is there a reason to be present for me? I'm not asking you to celebrate with other things or other people or other events. I'm asking each of us as individuals, as worthy women, to recognize I need to celebrate me. If I don't yell at you for 5 minutes, I mean, let's just start small. Let's just be realistic. I'm going to celebrate that. I'm like, Corrie, girl, you're doing better. I'm proud of you. If I don't succumb to bad eating habits for 30 days, come on, girl. Yes, you looking fine as wine in the mirror, because I'm going to celebrate me. Because how do you cultivate? How do you grow a seed into a huge mustard tree? How do you grow something unless you begin to water it? So my beliefs, what I believe in my heart, what I believe in my mind, the words that I speak out of my mouth, those things will grow and they will become a part of me if I begin to cultivate and celebrate me in the areas that I am seeing myself change in. See, celebration, in the sense that we looked at it in the beginning, these are a result of changes. Do you know that you can't go to college until you graduate from high school? Do you know that you can't go to medical school until you've finished the prerequisites for medical school or you get your undergraduate degree? Do you know that you can't become a dental hygienist until you've completed your coursework and passed the test and done so many hours? Do you recognize that really the reason why we gather and the reason why we celebrate is because we are honoring the process of change? You can't become who God made you to be if you don't change. You're not the same at 16 as you are at 22, at 32, at 42, at 52 and beyond. You're not the same. And if you remain the same, then you are doing yourself a disservice. And there is no way that you will ever want to celebrate who you really are unless you are willing to acknowledge that change is a part of the reason I can celebrate. So tonight, as I was thinking, as all of these people that I know are celebrating their children graduating and moving on and getting promoted and doing new things, I couldn't help but think about where I was just one short year ago when my own baby was graduating from high school. And we certainly had a celebration for her, and yet that time even continues as she just completed her first year of college. Come on, Dean's List. Thank you, Jesus. And I even have a reason to celebrate again. But instead of me focusing on the event, I made a decision that what I now want to focus on and what I want to celebrate is her. I want to celebrate that she's more mature now than she was last year. I want to celebrate that she is more aware of who God is and who He is in her life than she was last year. I want to celebrate that she learned how to be more independent. When I thought, I didn't know if she would jump onto that train, but she did. And I also want to celebrate her recognizing her value in her worth. See, that's the reason I want to celebrate. And then I thought, how could I celebrate me too? I can celebrate me by recognizing that I can live without my child at home 24 hours a day, that I do have a purpose outside of being a mother, that I am capable of living my life and honoring the Lord and doing the things that He's asked me to do, yet and still being a good mother. I celebrated that I was willing to take risks and do things and move and try new things. That's worthy of celebration. And that's worthy of me celebrating me. And I also realized that I could celebrate me by not being afraid, by not making choices and choosing to stay in one thing because I know it well, and saying, no, I'm willing to jump out there and see what it will be. So tonight, worthy women, I hope the only thing that you've learned is that when you celebrate yourself, that you are recognizing your life has purpose, that your life is a priority, and that who you are is so vitally important for the people that you influence, because you're teaching them how to celebrate themselves. And I hope for the rest of 2021, in the year of me, that we recognize celebrating ourselves does not require an event. It doesn't even require that anybody else knows. Celebrating me requires that I understand that when I change and when I grow, that the things that have become a part of me are the things that I want to impart into another worthy woman, are the things that I want to leave as a legacy to other worthy women. Because understanding that you can celebrate yourself and you don't need an event to do it is the best place to be. So tonight, worthy women, I celebrate you. I don't celebrate you for any accomplishment that you've done. I don't celebrate you for being or doing things that people thought you should have done growing up. I don't celebrate you because of the roles that you have in your life, whether that's wife or mother or sister or aunt, grandmother, cousin, niece. I don't celebrate you for things or people or events. I celebrate you because you are exactly who you are supposed to be. I celebrate you because there are things in your life that you have learned, that you have cultivated into your belief system, that have shaped your value, your worth, your faith, and you have been able to impart that into other young, worthy women, and even some older, worthy women. I celebrate you tonight because you are worthy right now. There is nothing that you can do 5 minutes from now, 50 minutes from now, 5 years from now, 50 years from now that will make you more worthy in the eyes of God than you are right now. I celebrate you, worthy women, because your life matters. Your lessons matter. And when you recognize that the celebration does not require other people to show up or give gifts or make an announcement, but the celebration is recognizing I am becoming exactly who I am ordained to be. Worthy women, that's the best life to live. And so I challenge you today and every day to celebrate me. I can't wait to see you next Wednesday. Y'all, it'll be the last Wednesday in May. And Shanna, because I see you on here, I can't see the comments because I turned them off. Girl, I just want you to know, victory, girl. It's so near, so near, so near, so near, so near. I pray for beautiful Bray every day and all those women that pray for her. But I want you to know your faithfulness rings in the heavens. And every prayer and every tear that you have cried about that beautiful baby, I want you to know that our good, good Father has heard and he has answered. And we will all live to see. We will all live to see the beautiful miracle that he has already done in her life. And so I cannot wait, because I'm flying all the way from Washington to watch her play. And I don't care if they win or lose, because I'll remember when the victory was won, when it mattered. So I love you. And I love y'all, worthy women. And I can't wait to see y'all next week. Bye.